pick. I've always known I am one lucky girl. Now happily married with 2 children of my own, a career in journalism that I love, and too many blessings to count, I'm nonetheless anxious about a small list of health concerns, including joint pain in my knees and hips that has been recurring for years. Tests for lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and assorted other genetically linked ailments repeatedly come up negative. The symptoms always subside, but inevitably return, cueing deep self-doubt about the fortitude of my genetic makeup. My misgivings peak every time a new specialist quizzes me about my parents' and grandparents' health. So does my frustration. Virtually every question they ask yields the same tired response. I'm adopted. I don't know. Worried that I might be passing health problems down to my 7-year-old daughter Veronica and my son Carter, 4, I called Spence-Chapin hoping for a peek into my hidden medical past. Given that I know absolutely nothing about it, even the smallest disclosure would be compelling. It isn't my first contact with the agency. 5 years earlier, I had made a donation in honor of my parents on their 40th wedding anniversary. It was 1997, and I was already full-grown and a mother myself, but my folks were as devoted to me as ever, and now to my husband and children too. I'd never be able to repay them for all they'd given me. The gift to the agency that gave us to each other was the least I could do. No sooner did Spence-Chapin receive that check than they were ringing me up, the start of a courting ritual designed to draw me in as a regular donor and participant in their post-adoption programs. Having simply been raised as my parents' child, not their adopted child, I knew nothing about such things, but I would soon learn that adoption and its potential aftermath had evolved a great deal. Unlike 36 years ago when my parents left the agency with little more than a wave and a wish of good luck, Spence-Chapin now hosted all sorts of support groups, counseling programs, and regular gatherings to celebrate adoption. It also helped facilitate searches. For adoptees like me, whose records were sealed with tomb-like finality, there are national registries where matches can be made if both children and birth parents submit their information. There's also very limited non-identifying information every adoptee can receive simply by requesting it. This generally includes medical information and skeletal facts, such as physical descriptions of birth parents or their occupation at the time the child was born. Initially, none of it interested me, and I might never have set foot back in Spence-Chapin's converted Upper East Side townhouse if not for my health concerns. My November call to the agency to ask what I had to do to obtain a medical history had been rote. Per simple instructions, I sent in a notarized request, and in mid-January, Amy Burke called back with news. Apparently, my birth mother had lived under the agency's care for several months, and as a result, my records were more extensive than most. While information that could identify her or my birth father remained sealed, the agency was at liberty to share non-identifying medical and personal details at its discretion. In other words, at Amy's discretion. But here's the catch. I have to go get them in person. Amy cautioned me to make the appointment for a time when I'd be unencumbered afterward. I work. I have 2 kids. I'm never unencumbered. People are sometimes distracted after these meetings, she explained, her voice brimming with concern. Even without identifying information, whatever is offered could be a lot to take in, she warned. Unfazed, I ignored her advice. What could she possibly tell me that would throw my whole day? But now, sitting in the lobby of this place where my life essentially began, I feel uneasy. As I glance through a photo album of wide-eyed children with their gleeful new parents, unbidden tears suddenly blur the images, causing me to hastily put the book aside, wipe my eyes, and check my watch. It's time to get on with this and get back to work. Before long, I'm ushered into a small room with high ceilings, bare windows, linoleum floors, and 2 mismatched chairs, left over from another era, facing each other. I've never been in an interrogation room, but something about this place makes me think of one. Maybe it's the sparseness or utter chalk whiteness of it. Either way.